Okay, so you want to buy a Lamborghini. Sign the papers, pick up the keys, drive out of the dealership, and spend the rest of your life as the person everyone stops to film at a red light. Sounds simple. It is not simple, because owning a Lamborghini isn't really one purchase. It's a subscription you didn't know you signed up for, and the sticker price on the window is just the entry fee. The real story of what this car costs, what it's actually worth 6 months later, and why so many owners end up losing it, not from a crash, but from math, is one of the strangest stories in all of consumer finance. Here's the paradox. Nobody tells you walking into that showroom. The car built specifically to prove you've made it is, for a huge number of its owners, the exact thing that proves you haven't. Financially, the Lamborghini isn't the finish line. For a lot of people, it's the moment everything starts falling apart. Let's start with the number on the window. A new Huracan runs somewhere around $260,000 before you've added a single option. Check a box or two, carbon fiber trim, a lifting system so you don't scrape the front end on every driveway in America, a upgraded exhaust, and you're comfortably past $300,000. Step up to an Aventador or one of the limited editions, and the price climbs past $400,000 before you've driven a single mile. For comparison, that's more than the median American house. You are financing an object that depreciates like a phone with the price tag of real estate. But here's the part almost nobody accounts for before they sign. The number on the window is not the number you actually pay. Dealer markup, industry insiders call it ADM, additional dealer markup, routinely adds anywhere from $20,000 to $100,000 on top of the sticker price for in-demand models, because Lamborghini deliberately restricts how many cars reach the US every year. Fewer cars than buyers means the dealer, not the factory, sets the real price. Then there's the delivery fee, the dealer prep fee, and in most states, sales tax calculated on the final inflated number, not the advertised one. Added up, and a $260,000 car can easily cost you $320,000 to actually drive off the lot. That's before insurance, before a single tank of gas. And insurance is where the second surprise lives, because a Lamborghini isn't rated like a normal car. Insurers price it based on repair cost, theft rate, and driver risk profile, and exotic cars score high on all three. For a driver under 30, full coverage on a car like this can run $15,000 to $30,000 a year. Even an experienced driver in their 40s with a clean record is often looking at $8,000 to $12,000 annually just to legally park it in the driveway. That's a full year of some people's rent, paid every single year, before the car takes you anywhere. Now you own it. Time to actually drive it. And this is where the real machine starts revealing itself, layer by layer, the way almost nobody explains it before you buy. The first layer is maintenance, and it does not behave like maintenance on a normal car. A routine service, oil change, inspection, fluids on a Lamborghini can run $1,500 to $3,000, compared to $100 or so on a Honda. Miss a service interval and warranty coverage can be voided entirely. Then there are the parts that wear out simply from existing. Tires on a Huracan are ultra-high performance, low profile, and they wear fast because the car is designed to grip the road at speeds a Camry will never see. A single tire can run $600 to $1,000, and you need four, sometimes replaced every 5,000 to 8,000 miles if you're actually driving the car the way it was built to be driven. Brake pads and rotors, built to stop a car that can hit 60 in under 3 seconds, cost multiples of a normal car's braking system. None of this is optional. It isn't a luxury upgrade. It's the price of keeping the car legally and mechanically able to move. The second layer is depreciation, and this is the one that quietly destroys more owners than any repair bill ever could. Most new cars lose roughly 20% of their value in the first year. A new Lamborghini, especially a mainstream model bought at or near sticker price, can lose 40 to 50% of its value within the first 3 to 5 years. Here's why that number matters more than it sounds like it should. If you financed the car, and most buyers do, you can end up owing more than the car is worth almost immediately after buying it. That's called being underwater, and it's a term usually associated with houses during a housing crash. Except here, it happens to almost every buyer, on a predictable timeline, in a market that isn't crashing at all. The car itself is the crash. It's built into the purchase. The third layer is the one people notice only when they try to sell, because a Lamborghini isn't a liquid asset the way people imagine. Limited production, low mileage, perfectly documented examples of rare models can actually hold value or even appreciate. But the overwhelming majority of Lamborghinis on the road are ordinary production models bought by ordinary wealthy people, not collectors, and those cars compete against a flood of other depreciating, exotic cars, all trying to sell into the same narrow pool of buyers. The result: dealers routinely lowball trade-in offers by tens of thousands of dollars below what the owner believes the car is worth, because the dealer knows exactly how thin that buyer pool actually is. Here's the trap almost nobody sees coming until they're standing in it. Financing a car this expensive usually means a loan of 5 to 7 years, sometimes with a balloon payment at the end to keep the monthly number from looking insane. But the car depreciates fastest in exactly those same early years, so the owner is making payments on a loan balance that's shrinking slower than the car's actual value for years at a time. Add maintenance, insurance, and tires on top of that loan payment, and total monthly cost of ownership on a financed Lamborghini can realistically run $6,000 to $10,000 a month before you've spent a single dollar on gas or a parking spot. That's not a car payment. That's closer to a second mortgage that depreciates instead of building equity. To understand how this actually plays out in someone's real life, it's worth looking at a documented example instead of a hypothetical one. In 2015, the rapper 50 Cent filed for bankruptcy, listing debts against an estate that, on paper, included a well-known collection of exotic cars. Court filings in cases like his are part of the public record precisely because this pattern shows up over and over in the entertainment and athlete world: high visible income, high visible assets, and a debt structure underneath that the public never sees until a bankruptcy filing or a lawsuit forces it into the open. It's not that these people can't afford a Lamborghini on the day they buy it. It's that the ongoing cost, insurance, financing, depreciation, maintenance, compounds every single month, and unless the rest of the financial picture is stable, the car becomes one more fixed cost sitting on top of an income that isn't guaranteed to repeat next year the way it did this year. This is also exactly why the exotic car repossession industry exists as its own specialty. Repo agents who work specifically in the luxury and exotic space describe the same pattern again and again. Cars that look, from the outside, like proof of success, being pulled from driveways in the middle of the night because a payment stopped coming in. The car itself never changed. The financial structure underneath it did. There's a fourth layer sitting underneath all of this that most first-time exotic car owners never budget for at all: storage and logistics. A Lamborghini's ground clearance is measured in inches, not feet, which means a normal driveway, a normal pothole, a normal speed bump becomes a real risk to the front splitter. Owners who actually want to protect the car end up paying for climate-controlled storage, sometimes $200 to $500 a month, plus a front lift kit to raise the nose over obstacles, another few $1,000s installed. Then there's the question of actually driving it. Many owners quietly admit the car spends more time on a trailer being hauled to a track day or a car meet than it does being driven on public roads, because the roads most people live on simply weren't built for a car this low. So on top of the loan, the insurance, the tires, and the maintenance, you're often paying separately just to safely store and transport an object you already own outright. There's also a fifth cost that rarely gets mentioned until it happens: registration and luxury surcharges. Several states apply extra fees on top of standard registration for high-value vehicles, sometimes adding another $1,000 or more per year, simply for the privilege of putting a license plate on the thing. None of these costs show up in the glamour shots. All of them show up in the bank statement. Now here's the part of this business almost nobody thinks about: the psychology built into the purchase itself. Lamborghini and dealers selling Lamborghinis understand something specific about their buyer. The customer isn't only buying acceleration numbers and a shape. They're buying an entrance, the low, wide stance, the scissor doors that make simply exiting a parking lot into a small performance, the exhaust note engineered specifically to be loud, aggressive, and unmistakable from 2 blocks away. None of this is accidental. Every design choice maximizes the moment other people notice you, because that moment, not the 0 to 60 time, is what's actually being sold. And once you understand that, the dealer markup, the financing terms, the trade-in lowballing, all of it makes more sense. You're not just paying for a car, you're paying for the attention the car generates. And attention, it turns out, is one of the most expensive things you can buy. There's a second, quieter piece of psychology at work too, one aimed less at the buyer and more at everyone watching the buyer. Social media has turned the Lamborghini into a kind of shorthand, a single image meant to communicate an entire life story in one frame: the wealth, the taste, the win. That shorthand is exactly why the exotic car rental industry has grown so fast in cities like Miami, Los Angeles, and Dubai over the past decade, letting anyone borrow the same shorthand for a day, a weekend, sometimes just a single photo shoot. The existence of that entire rental industry is itself proof of how much the image is worth compared to the object. People aren't only paying to drive the car. Plenty are paying to borrow the story it tells for a few hours, which says a lot about why actual owners are so willing to absorb costs that don't make sense on a spreadsheet. So does owning a Lamborghini actually work out? The honest answer depends entirely on which buyer you are, and the gap between the good outcome and the bad outcome is enormous. In the best case scenario, you're buying the car in cash, not financing it. You've already accounted for insurance, tires, and service as an ongoing fixed cost you can absorb without strain. You've picked a model or a limited edition with genuine collector demand, something that holds value instead of chasing it downward. In that version, the Lamborghini is a toy paid for entirely out of surplus income, and the depreciation, while real, doesn't threaten anything else in your financial life. This is the version wealthy collectors actually live in, and it's a completely reasonable, sustainable way to own one. In the realistic bad case, the car is financed close to the full sticker price, plus dealer markup rolled into the loan. Insurance lands at the high end because the buyer is younger or has a mixed driving record. Maintenance gets deferred because the monthly loan payment is already stretching the budget, which then risks voiding warranty coverage on repairs that can run into the tens of thousands of dollars. 18 months in, the car is worth 30 to 40% less than the loan balance against it, and the owner is paying full price every month for an asset actively working against them. This is the version that ends in a repossession, or a bankruptcy filing, or a quiet trade-in at a massive loss just to make the monthly bleeding stop. Neither of these outcomes is rare or exotic in this industry. No pun intended. Both happen constantly, sometimes to people who, from the outside, looked exactly the same on the day they drove off the lot. Same model, same color, same finance company, same showroom smile in the delivery photo. The difference only shows up 18 months later, in one case as a fully paid off toy sitting quietly in a heated garage, and in the other as a certified letter, a missed payment, and a tow truck idling in the driveway at 6 in the morning. The car didn't change between those two people. The financial structure underneath it did. It's worth sitting with how counterintuitive that actually is. This is a car built entirely around the idea of winning, the fastest lap time, the loudest exhaust, the most heads turned per mile driven. And yet the actual financial mechanism sitting underneath that image is almost the opposite of winning: a guaranteed scheduled loss in value, stacked on top of some of the highest recurring costs in all of consumer vehicle ownership, sold to a buyer pool that skews younger, more leveraged, and more image conscious than almost any other segment of car buyers in the country. The car is engineered for a fraction of a second of pure performance. The bill is engineered to last years. A Lamborghini looks, from the outside, like proof that someone has already won. From the inside, it's actually one of the most unforgiving financial instruments a person can voluntarily sign up for. An asset that guarantees it will lose value on a predictable schedule, attached to costs that don't pause just because the payments got hard. The car doesn't care how good it looks in the driveway. The car isn't the business. The person still making the payments on it is.